Hey, so today we're going to be talking about love. Valentine's Day was just the other day, 2 days ago, and it's come, it's gone, leaving behind a whirlwind of love, opinions, and soul searching. You find people who are pulling out all the stops, roses, candlelight dinners, and the whole fairy tale romance, while others actually just roll their eyes at the whole aspect of commercialism of the entire day. But there are also those people who are talking about self-love and the importance of celebrating yourself. Today, I'm going to be talking about the highest form of love, and that is the love that you have for yourself. Hi, my name is Eva. I'm an intuitive healer. I work with two modalities, one which is based on working with the Akashic records. It's called soul realignment, and the second one is all about rewiring your nervous system, and that's called quantum flow, using techniques such as breathwork, sound, and movement. But more on these two modalities at the end of this video. I'm going to be sharing how these two modalities can actually be a game changer for you and any kind of pain, any kind of trauma, any kind of healing that you might be going through right now. These two modalities will be a great fit for you. So make sure you watch until the end. I love starting my videos by sharing my lesson for the week. And my intention is to encourage you that every single day have the intention to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. And by the end of this year, you're going to be so far along on your journey, it's actually going to shock you. My weekly lesson was the belief in miracles. We've all gone through those moments where the impossible becomes possible, probably a certain situation that you've been praying for such a long time that I really want this, I really want this. And just when you thought like all hope was lost, something weird happened. And then boom, whatever it is that you're desiring to manifest just happened for you. And sometimes it felt almost like a snap of a finger. Like you woke up, you went to bed, believing life was like this, then you wake up the following day, you already have whatever it is that you're asking for. I'm sharing this based on so many things that have happened, just not in my life, but also so many stories that I hear all around me, where people are sharing that they've gone through certain challenges. Like, for example, I was listening to a story of someone on my media page just talking about how they thought or they had been informed that they had cancerous cells within their body and they were actually due to go to a certain procedure to get rid of that before it actually became full-blown cancer. And this person in their heart, they just felt like, no, this wasn't the way to go. And they used whatever techniques they used. I didn't really listen to how they went about it, but months later or weeks later, the person goes back to the same doctor and they're told that those cells completely disappeared from their body. And I can share from my perspective, there's so many things that are happening in my life that I thought it was hopeless. I thought it was like there was no hope in that situation, but something weird happened just right at the very end that just manifested an instant miracle for me. So for you who's listening to me, I want you to truly start believing in miracles. Sometimes, yes, something can seem impossible because we're thinking we're the ones who have to make that thing happen. But the reality is, you don't have to figure it out on your own. The only thing you can do is actually do your best and then leave the rest to God. Leave the rest for the grace of God, the grace of the universe to come in and do whatever the other part that you're not able to do for yourself. Because so many things are actually beyond our control, right? So the minute we attach to, oh, I've tried everything, I've tried all this, I've put in all the effort and nothing is still materializing. In that moment, that's the perfect moment to surrender the things that you can't do, the things that are beyond you to the grace of God and believe that miracles do happen. Okay. Because trust me, in the quantum realm, weird things happen. I wish I actually knew how everything actually manifests eventually, but you have so much help in the quantum realm that can actually bring your true desires to your reality and manifest it to your physical reality. But first of all, you have to ask for this help. And then you have to believe that it's actually possible. So do your best. I'm not saying you take yourself out of the equation because you always have to put in the work. Do your best and leave the rest that is not on you, that you have no control over, to God, and expect and believe that miracles do happen. That's my lesson for the week, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you actually manifested a miracle in your life? Those situations that you thought were absolutely impossible, and then boom, something weird happened, and then bam, you had whatever you've been asking for. I want to hear your story, so let's share down below and encourage each other. You never know what word or what phrase you might use that might actually spark something, some divine knowing for someone else. So please share, don't hold back. So today we're going to be talking about self-love. Self-love in the form of the highest form of love that you can ever have for yourself. So I've shared this in my channel previously that the three most important relationships in your life is one, the relationship you have with yourself, two, the relationship you have with others, and three, the relationship that you have with your creator. In all of this, in my perspective, it is impossible for you to say you love others if you have no love for yourself. It's impossible for you to say you love the creator if you can't even love the creation. That's what I learned from one of my teachers. But the basis of all of this is it always starts with the relationship with yourself. If you cannot have complete love for yourself, it's impossible for you to give or receive love. It's impossible for you to believe that even God or the creator can love you so unconditionally because you don't believe that you're worthy of having that kind of love. So the first relationship you always have to get right is the relationship that you have with yourself. But how do you go about loving yourself truly? I read a beautiful phrase in one of the books that I'm currently reading, and it says that to love all of you is to love both the rose and the thorns that it comes with. Most people get so attached to they only want to love their perfect selves, and this is why they judge themselves so harshly. They shame themselves, they guilt themselves because something inside of them is constantly telling them, "You're not perfect, you're not there yet, you're not worthy, you're not enough to have whatever it is that you deserve because of," and you can list a number of reasons. But to truly love yourself, to accept those things that are good and also bad about you. You can't separate the two because they're all parts of yourself. They're all parts of the whole. And how people usually go about it is that you want to turn your eyes away and shame yourself from all those things that you do wrong. But I'm here to tell you that if you truly, truly want to know and truly experience true self love, you have to love those shadow aspects of yourself that you've been hiding, that you've been running away from. Because the only way to actually heal the shadow is through love. It's not through judgment, it's not through shame. In fact, if you're tapped into the element of criticism and shame and guilt, and you're constantly doing that to your shadow aspects, you're actually feeding that shadow and keeping yourself stuck because you will convince yourself that, now because I'm bad, there's no point of me taking any new action that gets me out of the situation. So it's okay. Let me just continue doing the bad and tapping into the bad habits, the bad patterns, because I am so unworthy. The best way to actually heal this is through love and being like, you know what? Yes, I am this. Yes, I get jealous. Yes, I get angry sometimes. And love, and it's through love and giving the space for that shadow aspect. Remember, the shadow always arises from your fears. Something about you that you're so scared to confront of yourself. So it's kind of like your shadow aspects are there to form a shield of armor to keep you away from that which you fear. So when you judge yourself, you will never have courage to peek beyond this wall that you have for yourself to see what fear or what underlying root cause is actually feeding this shadow aspect. So love yourself, both the good and the bad. Second part that I found with self-love is to trust yourself unconditionally, beyond other people's opinions and all of that. That is literally the highest form of love you can ever have for yourself. And in the world we're living in, right now, funny thing is that it's actually easier right now to follow your own intuition, to follow your own opinion than it was centuries ago. Remember, centuries ago, if you dared to stand out, what will happen to you? Chances are you're going to get killed, you're going to get exiled, or just something bad was going to happen to you. This is the first time that a lot of us have actually the freedom to be our sovereign self, to follow our own path, regardless of societal expectations. We haven't evolved as much from judgment, from society's judgments and all of that, because there's certain expectations that society places on us on what we are supposed to do. And not even society, even our own family, the paths we're supposed to undertake, the choices we're supposed to make in our partners, in our careers, and all of that. There are certain expectations, but so many of us ignore our own heart's calling and decide to just follow the path set out by other people. And by doing that, it's literally like spitting on your soul. Remember, when you incarnated here, you came here with a plan. You came here with the purpose of what you intentioned to experience in this physical incarnation. So you had your lesson plan ready, you had everything set out. But once you get here, of course, we forget who we are, right? We lose our connection to our higher self. And the whole journey of life is to get back that connection, to remember who we are, and then to be who we are once you remember. That's literally what you're here for, to evolve and create ourselves in new ways each and every day with the choices we make. Now, when you're disconnected from your soul's voice, completely disconnected, and fully listening to your mind. Remember your mind, again, and I've spoken about this so many times on my channel. Your mind is only there to make sure you're safe. It's actually your assistant. It's not supposed to be running the show. But many of us are living our realities in our minds. We follow whatever our logical mind says. So sometimes your heart could be telling you that I don't think you should go this way. And your mind will come up with these logical reasons as to why you should actually go that way. And most of us tend to follow the logic and not our heart, our the voice of our heart, because it just makes sense. And that's okay. But usually you find that the mind can only see a few steps ahead. That's the only thing it's privy to. And remember, your mind also creates from who you've been in the past. It has no ability to create from the future. That is actually the job of your spirit, your heart, your soul, whatever you want to call it. Because your soul already had everything figured it out. It already had a plan, you just forgot. And it's trying to remind you, but we don't listen. So we just follow our mind. You know, it's logical for you to follow what your parents say, like, this is the career path that I'm supposed to take. And even if you know in your heart I don't love this. I don't want this for myself. The most logical thing is to go at whatever your parents have said because their only version of success comes from that particular field, which is not true. The more and more we make choices that go against, that is in misalignment with our heart's truest desires, it only leads to dysfunction in our lives later on. And most people are actually never able to identify this dysfunction because the consequences are really never really connected to the choices we make. They manifest in the most weird ways. But here's how you can actually tell. If whatever the life you live in right now, you know that your health is suffering, you know that your relationships are suffering, and you know that your finances are actually suffering, chances are you are in complete misalignment with your soul's true calling. But most people are unable to confront that. They think that, okay, now that my finances are suffering, this and this and this is what I'm going to, and you come up with a plan. I'm going to take a course. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start saving and all of that. And even with all that work you put in, you just never seem to get past that threshold for some reason. There's a reason for that. You're not addressing the root cause of that. Remember, you're a spiritual being here to experience yourself in a physical reality. Never forget that. So, your first form of whatever choices you make always have to be in alignment with your spirit. Because at the end of it all, the only real thing you have is your soul and how you evolved. That's it. That's the only thing that you get to transition to the next world with. You don't get to carry your titles. You don't get to carry your material wealth. You don't get to carry your relationships. You only get to be with yourself and your spirit. Have you evolved? But you can't evolve if the choices you make on a daily basis are based on the logical mind and what all these people around you are saying. So follow your authentic nature, follow that authentic voice, follow your heart's calling. And trust me, it is not the easiest thing. I'm talking like this, and I'm still learning how to trust that voice because a major part of our lives is actually based on trusting others. That's just how society raised us, right? We were taught to depend on others to make decisions for ourselves. So it's really hard to come out of that upbringing or that conditioning and start learning to trust yourself. It's not easy. And it's even harder when it seems like you're the only one who's doing it and everyone around you seems like they're saying because they're just following along because this is what the crowd says. This is what the society says. And you're the one who's saying, like, no, that's not the way for happiness. That's not the way to experience fulfillment. And you're the one who looks weird. And funny thing, like, you're actually the most sane person in that group. But you never get to see that because the entire crowd is going this other way. So following your heart's calling, yes, it might lead to you having to walk away from certain relationships that don't support your highest level of being, which is never easy. It might mean that, yes, you might be isolated just for some period of time as you're figuring things out. But eventually, you will find your truest or the highest form of fulfillment if you dare to follow this path. Remember that your higher self, your spirit, your heart, it can see miles ahead of you. It already knows where the nooks and the cracks are. It knows what the pitfalls that you're supposed to avoid. It can see all of that. So when it's telling you, stick to this path, I know what I'm saying, gotta trust it, even if it doesn't make sense, because your mind will only see a few steps ahead and be like, no, but there are thorns or just up ahead. But your mind, your higher self is like, yeah, there are thorns, but you can actually jump over that. And then there's a whole ocean waiting for you on the other side. But you can't perceive the ocean because your mind can only see few steps ahead. So I need you to remember that. Following your heart is, again, it's not easy at first. But the more and more choices you make in alignment to that, the easier and easier it becomes. And eventually, you will get to that point where you look back and it all just makes sense about why you had to experience certain things, why you had to be directed to certain situations, why you had to attract certain people, because all of this played a role in whatever soul plan that your soul had when it came into this incarnation. But you're never going to get to experience that if you're just living from your mind, if you're following what everyone else is saying and not following you, the voice of your soul. And again, this is the highest form of love you can have for yourself, to trust yourself with absolute conviction. That's the best form of self-love you can give. Even if the world around you tells you like you're crazy, remember that some of the most successful people that we have in our world or we've actually experienced are the ones who dare to stand out and say, no, I think this is how we're gonna go. And then years later, they actually create something that is so pivotal or just completely changes our understanding of this reality. But that's because they dare to listen to that voice. And that's my challenge to you. So I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you resonate with this? And how are you going about actually listening to that voice of your soul? What I've also found is that sometimes when you ask your heart for answers, it really takes a certain level of discipline and mastery to actually be able to hear that answer. So I'm not saying that just because I'm talking about it right now and then your mind goes like, okay, fine, now I'm gonna follow my heart, that it's just gonna be easy like that. Remember, you've had so many years of being conditioned to just be in your mind. So that is gonna take a certain level of practice and consistency and discipline to actually master that discipline to follow your heart's voice, to follow your intuition. That's gonna take a lot of work. I'm still learning, and I started years ago. And there's still moments I'm like, should I? Trust me. I don't know if there are other people who go through this, but I'm still learning. But I'm sharing with you so that we can do this journey together. So let me know your thoughts on this and how you're going to go about listening to this. And let me actually also know, share your story down below. The moments that you've actually taken or made choices that went against what you knew to be right with your soul, with your spirit, with your heart, what actually transpired? Share your story down below because maybe we can actually learn a lot from the mistakes you've made, right? You don't know who you might inspire so that they don't fall into the same pitfall. And also, as you're sharing that, I also want to know from you what actually happened that one time that you actually dared to go and follow your gut, your intuition. What actually happened after that? Did something good happen? Did something unexpected happen? Share your stories down below and let's learn from each other. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe and also click on the notification bell. I do love your support and also share in the comments what you would love for me to talk about going forward because I'm here to just be on service to you. And I did promise I was going to share at the end of this video how the two modalities I'm currently certified in that I actually use to help you awaken that voice for yourself. So my whole purpose is to connect you to your true self, to connect you to your higher self, to connect you to that voice, because that cannot happen if you have all of these stories in between. So all these stories will be the limiting beliefs you've picked up from the people around you, the patterns, the trauma, the emotional wounds, all these stories, even from your past life. As long as they are part of your journey right now, you're never gonna be able to listen to that voice. That and it's a very small, I don't want to say small voice because again, it takes a level of mastery to actually train yourself to hear that voice. But you're not able to hear that voice if you have all of this murkiness in between. So my job is to clear all the murkiness and make sure that that channel between yourself and your spirit is absolutely clear so that you can actually be able to determine and, and know what comes next for you. I've done it for years. This is why I'm so passionate about it. Because before, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And once I started releasing all these stories from my past, tapping into forgiveness, compassion, releasing the memories of this also within my body, it's helped me learn how to listen and awaken so much for myself, by the way. So not just listening to that voice, it's awakened a lot of things for me. Help me find my purpose, help me tap into this inner state of calmness and peace. Like, honestly, that I never thought was actually possible. And in the world we're living in right now, like, we know there's a lot of chaotic nonsense that's happening around, and it's so easy to get sucked in and forget to live your life because you're so focused on all the chaos that's happening around you. And it takes an inner level of mastery to not get sucked in. And this is what these two modalities can provide for you. So, one again is called Soul Element, which is all about helping you connect to your true identity. Who are you at a soul level? So, remember, you are a spirit having a physical experience. But what is the identity of that spirit? I'm here telling you to connect to your true self, but you don't even know what your true self is. And this is what Soul Element helps you to answer, helps you understand this is who I'm designed to be. This is how I'm supposed to show up in the world. These are my gifts because every single one of us has a unique set of abilities that we're supposed to leverage and tap into to create our human experience. But again, because of all these stories that all these choices we've made that have taken us out of alignment with who we are, we keep on creating blockages that keep us away from who we are. So it's soul element. Again, it's helping you clear this, all these stories, all these memories, all this trauma, all these blockages, all these negative karmic patterns from your blueprint and helping you now really start showing up as your true authentic self. So you're gonna get access to the choices that you make that actually make you more in alignment with who you are. And again, and which is most important, the choices that actually take you away from your true alignment, from your true self. So if you want to know what that is, and again, remember, the more choices we make that are in misalignment with who we are, the more of these blockages we keep on creating. So it's so relevant. You're going to be clearing all these energetic blockages. You're going to be getting to know yourself at such a deep level and so much more. The second one is called quantum flow. So quantum flow is all about rewiring your nervous system, okay? So using techniques such as breathwork, sound, and movement to really help you release all these patterns, all this trauma, all these emotional wounds that so many of us think are just locked in the memory of our mind, but your body actually remembers too. So when people come to the healing journey, they just focus on releasing it in the mind. And then years later, they're wondering, why is nothing happening? Because you're also not releasing the memory of that within your body. And with quantum flow, we focus on different aspects of your being. So it's not just the body, it's your physical, it's your mental, it's your emotional well-being, it's your spirituality. We're going to be clearing all of this with, again, the techniques of breathwork, sound, and movement, just to help you clear that channel within your body. So remember, with Soul Element, you're going to be releasing it at a soul blueprint level. And with quantum flow, we're releasing it at the body level and all these other channels. And then once this channel is clear, guess what? When you now know how you're supposed to be creating your reality, how you're supposed to be showing up, what can you manifest? Okay. So I'm here for you. And if any of this actually sounds good for you, I'm going to be sharing a QR code in a bit. So let me share my screen. I don't know if you can see that, but let me stop sharing because it's hanging a bit. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to scan the QR code on the screen right now, book a discovery call with me, and then we'll determine if any of these two modalities will be a great fit for you and your healing and your growth and your transformation. No commitments, okay? So just join me 15 to 30 minutes. We're going to see if I'm a good fit for you or not. And if not, well and good, wish you all the best. And if you are, I look forward to actually serving you in awakening this new aspect of yourself. And I'm so excited if you're going to be joining me and letting me be your guide in your journey. Thank you so much for watching, and love and blessings.